Greetings and welcome back to Phasmophobia. Now I'm going to continue my guide series by explaining
I've
the
gathered a list of other hunters asking for help.
advanced equipment. Now I'm going to go ahead and add all of my advanced equipment. This is all the equipment that you can currently buy. I can actually buy more quantity, I just haven't bothered to. And I will add, I've got a little bit of lag here adding items. After I hit the plus key, there's a little bit of delay, so there's some server lag going on. I'm going to add the maximum amount of everything. So you can see I basically ended up buying enough so that if I add everything and lose it, I can still add everything in another match. But yes, I'm going to add everything and I will explain all the equipment. So honestly, I'm not really worried about identifying the ghost, but I will try. But this is mainly going to be to explain the equipment. And they really need an add all button for people like me who just want to maximize all the equipment in the game just so it's available if I need it. Especially when you're on multiplayer matches with other players, being able to add everything quickly. Well, I got a few extra UV lights. Being able to add everything quickly would be really good. Because as you can see, this is taking quite a while because of the server lag that I'm experiencing. I also have some extra photo cameras. And extra EMF readers. But there, now the number on the left is how many are currently in. The number on the right is the maximum amount you can have. And as you can see, I've added everything to max that we can currently bring into a mission. Now I have to select a job. We have Tanglewood, Edgefield, Bleasdale, and Ridgeview. Let's do Edgefield. And it's going to be an amateur. A 2-story, 6-bedroom house with a basement. We have recently received information about a possible haunting at this location. This one sounds dangerous, so you'll have to be careful with this one. Gather evidence and leave as soon as you can. More info when you arrive. Now, recommended items. It'll recommend a thermometer on any size 2 house because the thermometer helps you locate the ghost room quicker. And a lot of people think a thermometer is the most powerful tool in the game. It's the most powerful tool in the hands of inexperienced players. An experienced player does not need a thermometer to locate and confirm the ghost room quickly. All they need to do is get the ghost active and pay attention to clues. And this is a small house. It always recommends a team size of 2 on the small houses outside of Tanglewood. Tanglewood is the only one that is recommended 1 and has no recommended equipment. On the medium houses, the medium and the large ones, they will recommend sanity pills because of the size of the map. But recommended items you don't really have to have. They just are something that might make it easier for you. So here we go with the amateur Edgefield Street House. I'm going to ready up and go ahead and jump in. Now that flavor text they have when you select it, I have not yet determined if that has any bearing on the ghost type. It said it was a dangerous one. Does that mean it's a particular type of ghost? Like say a demon, mare, the ones that are more likely to hunt and kill you. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just random flavor text. Same thing for what he says when you load into the van. The second line he says where he talks about dangerous ghost and all of that. I don't know if that has any bearing on the ghost type, if it's supposed to be a clue toward it, or if it's just random, but I'm leaning toward it just being random.
We've arrived. Check the equipment and get set up before investigating. And remember to check the whiteboard for help. Nothing to report, but it looks like whoever was here left in a hurry.
Okay, so Optional objectives. The first one is technically an optional objective, but that's your primary objective. Discover what type of ghost we're dealing with. That's the one that gets you a success or failure on the mission, for purposes of whether or not you get the ghost right. You can get that wrong and still make money on a mission. That's not what matters. What matters is when you get to higher maps than small, like medium and large, objective 1 is worth more. On small maps, it's $10. Then it's multiplied by the difficulty. Amateur is a multiplier of 1, intermediate is a multiplier of 2, professional is a multiplier of 3. So on a professional small map, if you identify the ghost, you get $30. On a medium map, this objective is worth $30. On an amateur map, it's worth $60 on an intermediate and $90 on a professional. On a large map, this objective is worth $45 on amateur, $90 on intermediate, and $135 on professional. These others are always worth $10 only, and some of them are very difficult to get, like capture a photo of dirty water in a sink. That requires the ghost to interact with the sink. You turning the sink on doesn't help. You have to have the ghost turn on the sink to get dirty water, and then you have to take a photo of it. So in order to do that, you have to have the ghost go to be in a place where there is a sink. So you may not get that one on every map. It's only worth $10 for the most part, plus the $10 for the photo. Detect a ghost presence with a motion sensor. You just have to place a motion sensor down close to where the ghost is. It passes through it, easy to get. Cleanse the area near the ghost using smudge sticks. Now, this is the important part, near the ghost. Now, the ghost is likely to be in its favorite room. But you can go into the favorite room, use smudge sticks, and if there are other players in the house and the ghost is, say, following one of them, it will not credit that objective because you didn't cleanse the area near the ghost. So it's best when you're trying to do this objective, make sure the person who is smudging goes to the ghost's favorite room and that everybody else in the house is near there when you're trying to smudge. Because if you're doing it while people are elsewhere in the house, you may not get that objective. Alright, now this is where the other information on the whiteboard comes in. The ghost's name is Susan Moore. This is important. Saying the ghost's name, and you only need the first name, we only need Susan, can trigger the ghost to do an interaction. So it will get you some activity. And the second part, the ghost also seems to only respond to people who are alone. That is also important. If you go in as a group in a multiplayer game and keep trying to confirm like the spirit box or get the ghost to open doors or materialize or something, it's not going to work if you guys are together. You have to split up. And as it says, you should be able to use the ghost name to anger it and get some paranormal activity. Make sure to refer to your journal, write down any evidence you find. Now, anger is something a lot of people are confused by. The ghost becomes more active. The ghosts are always angry. There is no separate anger stat. Saying its name doesn't make it any angrier than saying, could you give us a sign? What you're doing is making the ghost more active. Anger has nothing to do with how frequently it hunts. That is entirely based on your sanity. You can go into the place and say its name like 50 million times, and it's not going to make the ghost hunt if your sanity is still above the threshold. And you can go in there and never use its name, but wandering around in the dark, let your sanity fall to a certain part, and the ghost will start hunting like crazy. All this does is provoke a response. If your sanity is above the threshold, that response is not going to be a hunt. So the ghost doesn't actually get angry based on you using its name. It gets hostile based on your sanity. It gets active based on you trying to interact with it. So now let's go over the equipment here. These are the sanity pills. Using them will raise your sanity by 40 points to a cap of 100. They are one-use items, but they are not removed from your inventory. Basically, I have these 4 right now. If I use one in this mission, I can't use it again this mission because I used that one. It's gone. But I will still have it for my next mission. Even if I've only bought 4 sanity pills, I don't lose them from my overall inventory when I use them. I just lose them for purposes of the mission. I can't use them. One sanity pill can't be used more than once in a mission. Now, I can use all 4 of these myself, being in a solo mission, and then I will still have them in the next mission I run. These are the thermometers. They detect temperature changes, and I'll go into detail on them while I'm using them. These are glow sticks. They are kind of like the UV flashlight in the fact that they do UV light, black light, but they do it in a small area, and they're always on once you break them, and you can lay them on the ground to serve as markers for hallways. Of course, the spirit boxes we've covered in a previous one. And the photo cameras, each one has 5 photos. Now you can bring up to 3 cameras, but there's only room in here for 4, 8, 10 photos. So if you take over 10 photos, you won't see them to know if they were valid photos or not. Only the first 10 show up in the book. These are the parabolic microphones. They're mainly used in larger maps because they can detect things that you can't hear. These are the smudge sticks. In order to use them, you have to have a smudge stick and a lighter because you have to be able to light them. Of course, the EMF readers. These are the crucifixes. The way they operate, if you have a crucifix, most effective way to use them is to put them on the ground in the area where the ghost most commonly is, which is his favorite room. You put them on the ground, or you can have them in your hand and they'll work. But they basically, within a 3-meter radius of you, the ghost cannot initiate a hunt. So if the ghost is within 3 meters of a crucifix and tries to initiate a hunt, the hunt is canceled. After a crucifix has canceled 2 hunts, it will go away. You'll still have it for the next mission, but it's gone for this mission. Now, you can bring 2 in, so this one will cover a 3-meter radius. You can have this one cover a separate 3-meter radius. The most effective use is to put one in the middle of the ghost room. And if the ghost room is large, put another one in the other end of that room. Otherwise, put the other one outside of that room so that if a hunt does start, you know the ghost could not have initiated it where the crucifixes are. So if you're in the room when a hunt starts, you can get out of that room because you know the ghost is not immediately in the hallway right outside because of your second crucifix. Now, ghosts initiate a hunt from where they currently are. So if a ghost has wandered away from where the crucifixes are, it will start a hunt, even though you have crucifixes in the house. A ghost can wander into the area the crucifixes are during a hunt. So if a ghost, say, wanders down the hall and into another room, starts a hunt, it can wander past the crucifixes just fine. They do not make you safe. They're also completely useless if the hunt has already begun. So if the hunt's already begun and you're carrying a crucifix, don't bother trying to hold it in front of the ghost or throw it at the ghost. It's not going to do anything. Once the hunt has begun, hide, run, do whatever you need to stay away from the ghost and not get killed. Now down here we have the lighter. Of course that lights things like the smudge sticks and the candles. And you use the F key to interact with them with the lit lighter to light them up. Now the candles, they have a limited duration. Once you light them, a random time is generated between 3 and 5 minutes, and then they will be extinguished once that is out. They provide a nice little bit of cheery light. that does help reduce sanity loss, and they are not dependent on electricity. But because they continually burn out and have to be relit, they aren't the best source of light in the house without you having to also carry a lighter around. Now, there are candles in houses you can light, but they follow the same thing. Every 3 to 5 minutes they'll go out. Ghosts can also extinguish candles if they choose to. So if you have a candle in the house and light it, a ghost could immediately extinguish it right there if it's in the ghost room if it wanted to. But for the most part, they're a nice cheery source of light that doesn't require power. Now, they do not count as a light being on for the purposes of, say, the spirit box. So you can take candles into a room, a lit candle into a room to sit there and try and confirm the spirit box, and technically you're not counted as being in darkness for sanity, but you are for being in for purposes of the spirit box getting a response. So that's the main use of candles, is to give you light while you're trying to get a spirit box response. Salt. Salt has 3 uses per can, where you can lay down salt piles. The ghost will walk through them. If it passes by, it will walk through them and leave footprints. Now, if you put a whole bunch of salt piles in rapid succession, it may only interact with one, because it can only interact with a salt pile once every 10 seconds or so. And the footprints it leaves will be very short term. They won't last more than like 10 seconds. So unless you're there when it happens with a UV light, you're very likely to miss footprints. Footprints don't count for evidence. I don't believe they count for photos anymore either. I think it was like Update 2 took out footprint photos. But if you are there, it interacts with them and does not leave footprints, then it's a sure sign it's a wraith. Another good thing about salt, if a wraith interacts with salt, it will be less active for a short period of time, and it is less likely to hunt. Now, that will decay over time, so doesn't mean for the rest of the entire match. It usually means it just bumps up the interaction for a short period of time. It's going to be less active. Eventually it will bleed down and it will resume its regular activity. No ghost will interact with salt during a hunt. So even a wraith will not, even non-wraith will not leave footprints or leave a dip in the salt pile during a hunt. Alright, on to the next shelf. We have, these are the motion sensors. You place them on a wall, and if something passes in front of it, the light becomes green. They also will show up on this map with a little green bar, which you'll see when we start placing them. And if someone's in the van, they can see which one is triggered. These are the sound sensors. You place them in a room, and in a large area around them, they detect sound. And I'll show you how they work. When you place them down, they do a yellow area around them, and they'll be named by the room they're in, and as they hear things, this bar will go up. So they're a good way to detect what area a ghost is active in. These are the infrared motion sensors. They don't tie in to the motion sensor objective. What they do is if a player or a ghost passes in front of them, they turn on a light. So basically it's a way to help track movement visually. Okay, the light just came on, something went in front of that, and it wasn't one of us. Also, they can be helpful to get you through dark areas. You can place them on areas that are particularly dark. As you walk past them, a slight light will come on. It should reduce sanity drain. Of course, the video cameras, the regular flashlights, and the UV lights. And here we have the ghost writing books, and these are the strong flashlights. The strong flashlights provide much better illumination than the regular flashlights. See, as you can see, that does quite a bit of brightness there. A regular flashlight, slightly less area and slightly less bright. So once you get access to the strong flashlights, they're highly recommended. They really improve the game. Now over here we have the tripods. Currently the only thing you can mount on a tripod is a video camera. Basically, you'll get a little image of the video camera at the top of the tripod. You hit F, it's placed on it. When you are carrying a tripod, if you try to switch to another piece of equipment, it drops it. So you have to have the tripod in your primary hand to move it around, basically. You can't switch to another piece of equipment. Now, you can have your flashlight on while you're carrying a tripod just fine. Now, objectives, motion sensor. Alright, so let's get in there, and first I'm going to show you how the sound sensors work. So I'm going to carry 2 of them because I'm still on a overall quest of mapping every room in every house. So this is the fuse box, or the breaker. It is basically at random locations in the house, but there are set random locations it can be. Let's see, the green area, which is kind of hard to spot, is right there. So there's the main door. You come in there, the stairs are to your right, and the living room will be to your left. The breaker is around here. This should be the garage. Now this has 2 floors. This is the upper floor. Oh, and it has a basement as well. Yes, the basement entrance is on the other side of the stairs here. Goes down to the basement, which has 2 separate rooms. So I'm going to be placing sound sensors in here at the start to map out the different rooms. This is probably the foyer. That's probably the living room. Oh, and these are the head-mounted cameras. They're mounted on the wall opposite. When you interact with them, they are automatically equipped. And whoever's here can see what you see. So, in a team where you have somebody doing camera duty in the van and people with head-mounted cameras on, they can basically look for ghost orbs as you travel around rather than you having to set up video cameras. But in order to do that, you'll occasionally have to turn your flashlight off, otherwise it's going to be blindingly white in their night vision if you're in a lit area. But the main use of it is just to be able to track where players are, because they can also see you on this map as you move around in the house, and I believe that is tied to having a head-mounted camera on. It's been a while since I've run a multiplayer match without head-mounted cameras to confirm or deny that. Alright, so let's get in here and put down some sound sensors. So with the sound sensors, you basically look at a place on the wall, and when you have it where you want it, you hit the F key, it'll set it up. And I'm going to put the other one... Really? You're going to turn the light off on me right now. I'm going to put the other one in this room. And check for a bone. There's another key. Now some of the keys are actually kind of useless. That first one at the door was the car key. I can use that to disable the car alarm if the ghost turns it on. Second one was the garage key. The garage door isn't locked. You don't need that key anymore. So, as you can see, they create these large areas that are kind of a mix between, I guess, yellow and orange. And it'll tell you which room it is. The first one is the hallway. The second one is in the living room. And if the ghost does anything in those areas, this will spike up in sound. Right now the ghost is not active. Now he did switch off the light as soon as I came in. But as you can see, my sanity... one other thing I'll show you about sanity as it drops. Right now, it's not really going to decline because you have a setup timer. I have 5 minutes where the ghost can't really affect my sanity too much. So I'm going to be using this 5-minute period to move sound sensors around. So this first one is going to get moved. here, which is probably also still the hallway. And this one, I'm going to relocate into the kitchen. Oh, you threw a cup on the ground, because that is not normally on the ground. Now I'm going to check these rooms real quick for a bone or a Ouija board. That's another bit of the advanced tools, is sometimes, not always, you can find a Ouija board in a house. But it's not a piece of equipment you can buy. It's not one you can bring with you. It has to be found, and you're interacting with doors. Alright, so still hallway and kitchen. Now, these rooms attached to the kitchen, there's a chance that they'll still be considered the kitchen for the purposes of room location, or they might have their own separate names. So I'm going to check both of them next. So I'm going to take the sound sensor from the hallway. And place it in this bathroom. And take the sound sensor in the kitchen and place it in the utility room. Right there. The ghost just interacted with the sink. So we will have dirty water to take a photo of for that objective. Now, that should be triggering the sound sensor, and it is not. Maybe I have the sound sensor facing the wrong way? Okay, yeah, toilet and utility room. So those are separately named rooms. So now we have 3 more rooms on the ground floor. Now, one thing, on some of these, not on this one, I believe on Ridgeview Roadhouse, the sound sensors can bleed over into the upstairs, and you'll see the overlay in the upstairs. So, I'm going to bring in a photo camera to get a picture of that, and I'll go ahead and bring in a motion sensor. Oh, I should grab the photo camera. That would help. So the ghost has been fairly active in this area. I'm going to place the motion sensor here. Move this one to this room, facing this way. And take the one from the utility room and put it in that room straight ahead with the piano. But I'm actually going to put it on this wall, and it's probably a dining room. Now, where you place the sound sensor matters. Basically, centered on itself, it creates a block area facing the direction it's facing. And as you can see, neither sound sensor is pinging, even though that water is on, and I didn't take a picture of it. But yeah, if you look right here, that right in the middle is where the sound sensor is, and it creates this block in front of it. Now, right there, you can see the motion sensor line barely, it's red. Every time the ghost passes in front of it, see, I've already triggered that objective, it'll switch green for a second. That's what that beeping noise was you were hearing, was the ghost moving in front of the sound sensor. I mean the motion sensor. But oddly enough, it's not triggering either sound sensor. So it's not making noise in that area that is being picked up by the sound sensor. And apparently the sink being active is not being picked up. It's only when the sink is first turned on or shut off. Now, every time that sound sensor that motion sensor pings, it should pick it up with the sound sensor. This ghost is fairly active. There, it just switched green for a little bit. It'll be easier to see when the sound sensors are gone. And now it's back to red. that means that motion sensor has been passed by. Now, one thing about sanity, the way this display is, you'll see it fluctuates. It can appear anywhere from 3 above your current sanity to 2 below your current sanity. So it has a 5-point variance. So I probably have about a 96 sanity. So I can go all the way up to 96 and all the way down to 94. And so far the lowest I've seen is 95, but the highest I've seen is 99. So I haven't been confirmed whether I'm currently at 97 or 96. It could go all the way up to 100. There. Okay, so I'm at 97. All right. Still nothing on the sound sensors. All right, let's grab the parabolic to talk about it for a little bit. Now, the parabolic in a column in front of it will detect sound at a distance. And that number to the right will mention the volume level of the sound. There, I've got a 4.5 looking that way. It just interacted with something over this way. Now, one other thing about it, if you interact with something, like a light switch, it's going to give you a 2.0 or 1.5 shortly afterwards. But as you can see, it's not picking up the running sync. But if the ghost interacts with something, and I don't physically hear it, like it just interacted with a door somewhere, it will still pick up on this. So this just gives you an idea of where to look, and it's not always perfect. It can, because it'll pick up stuff to your right and left a little bit. It's, like I said, it's a column, not a cone. And the little creaks that we're hearing now aren't noises that will show on it. Things like a light switch or a door opening and closing is a 1.5 or a 2.0. Same thing for when it first turns on a sync. Throwing objects can generate anywhere from a 1.5 to a 15, depending on the size of the object, how far it's thrown, how many objects are thrown at once. So basically it just tells you the ghost did something in this general area, and it helps you on larger maps locate the ghost. Now we should have a dirty water photo. Yep. Now I'm still working out exactly how photo value is calculated. I haven't gotten that down perfectly yet. So let's move this one to the garage, and let's put it over here right near the breaker box. He just interacted with a door. Alright, this one was listed as dining room. I want to check this end of the room and see if it's still considered the dining room or if this is a separate room. And then we will go downstairs and check and see if those two rooms are considered separate rooms downstairs. Yep, still the dining room and the hallway. The garage, I did move one to the garage, didn't I? Apparently not. I've still got one in the hallway. I could have sworn I had just placed one next to the breaker in the garage. Did I forget to place it? Or did I move the motion sensor? I moved the motion sensor. That's what it was. Yeah, the sound sensors are white. The motion sensors are kind of bluish gray. Now you can shut off the sync by left-clicking on it. You can also turn on syncs by left-clicking on it, but that's kind of pointless because that will actually impair the ghost ability to turn on the sync himself and get dirty water. Alright, so we have the garage and the dining room, yes. And now you can clearly see that motion sensor beam. And anytime it's triggered, it'll flicker green. So like if the ghost wanders in front of it, you'll hear a beep and it'll switch to green for a little bit. Which of course he's not going to do now that I'm looking at it. Alright, let's bring in one of these to explain. These green ones are the infrared motion sensors. They turn on a light when something sets them off, but they do not count for the motion sensor objective. The main purpose of these, of course now he trips it, and as you can see it's green for a little bit, and then it'll go back to being red. The main purpose of these is to provide a notification when something passes in front of it. See, right now, you see it's dark, something goes near it, it lights up a little bit. In theory, aren't you lighting up? Nope. Okay, let's try a different spot. Let's try here. Now you see how it lights up? Now if I pass in front of it, it'll light up for a short period of time. So I could do that. Put one of these in this bathroom here, say on this wall. And every time the ghost would pass in front of it, it would light up. Now I can also see that I have freezing breath, or that I can see my breath, which gives me freezing temperatures in this room. So that's pretty much the ghost room. But I am going to take these sound sensors and take them downstairs because I am still mapping out rooms of this house. So we're going to move that one to the that room, and that was the one that said dining room, which I believe was the second one on the list. And I can cut out this light now that I'm not using this room, and this light. And put another one in this dark room. This room has no light source in it. And see if they have different names. They're probably both basement, if I had to guess. No. As you can see, this ghost has been quite active, and without a thermometer at all, I located the ghost room just fine. And I wasn't even looking for it, really. We have basement and basement. Yes, they're both considered basement. And it is continually, it's in that bathroom continually tripping the motion sensor. Now my sanity is still fairly high. I'm in the upper 80s, almost 90. I have a smudge stick objective. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do that to show you how smudge sticks work. Now I know because you don't have to have this lit in your other hand, but you have to have it in your other hand to be able to light a smudge stick. The way it works is once you get to where you want to smudge, you hit the F key and it will light the smudge stick. And then for most effective use, wander around a little bit while it's going off just to make sure you get near the ghost if he's wandered a tad. And then once it stops smoking, it's done. You can just throw it on the ground. Now another thing I can do while I've got this lighter, light some of these candles just to give it a little bit of cheery atmosphere to the house. There we go. Now let's go get some other equipment to bring in while we're mapping out the rest of the house. We will bring in both crucifixes. Alright, now the optimum placement for crucifixes here is one in the ghost room and then another outside the ghost room, let's say right here in this doorway, so that if I'm in here when he's hunting from over there somewhere, I know I can run this way. Or what I could do is maybe place this, say, a little closer here, and place the one that's in here. Yeah, that should definitely cover. Yeah, I think that should give me space to get out, but just to be sure, yeah. Maybe better to place it there. 3 meters, yeah. And now, as you can see, I have, my breath is freezing here in this room too. So freezing temperatures don't just stay in one room. They follow the ghost around, who is apparently following me around playing with lights. Because the ghost is wanting to destroy my sanity so it can hunt and kill me. So this ghost is following me around to try and reduce my sanity so that it can hunt me. Alright, let's go upstairs and place one right here. I pick up the keys, even though most of them are useless. I believe that might be the basement key that I just grabbed. And as you saw, the basement was not locked. Alright, so we are done down here. Can have that light off. Now, candles are still going there. All 3 of those candles are still going. We'll go in this room right here. Place a sound sensor and check the closet for a Ouija board. You never know what kids are into these days. Alright. Now we can head back outside, see what those rooms are named, and then bring in some more equipment to discuss. Oh, both of those sound sensors are pinging. The upstairs hallway and the boys' teen bedroom. So they've both got some sound they're picking up, so it's probably where they overlap. Interesting. Alright. Now for our next piece of equipment, we're going to bring in the ghostwriting book and a video camera. And I'm going to bring in the video camera on a tripod so I can explain the way tripods work. Now, the way tripods work as opposed to bringing in a video camera not on a tripod, they give you an elevated location from where to place the tripod. But the tripod will always be dropped facing the direction you are facing. You know, make sure the green light is on so that the tripod is on. As you saw, that gave me a little bit of light while I was trying to place the book. But not a significant amount. Now will you stop playing with lights? I am working here. You blew the breaker. Great. Miserable little... Anyway. Oh, I did not look... yeah, it was upstairs hallway. Yeah. Now this should be called the nursery. And this should be the upstairs bathroom. And I will check those for other things like Ouija boards. Ouija boards are generally going to be in storerooms and closets, not just laying in the floor. Garage is another area it could be. Both of those are still lit up. Now let's check our video camera and see if there's a ghost orb in the bathroom. Now, as active as it has been in the bathroom, that was the infrared motion sensor just went off. I'm still pretty sure, even though it's active upstairs at this time, that this is its favorite room. Yeah, it's triggering the motion sensors, triggering the infrared motion sensor. I don't see a ghost orb though. So I will be adding in extra camera angles and such. Okay, girls' kid bedroom and bathroom. So that's not the nursery, that's a girls' kid bedroom. Okay. And both of those are active. Now I'm curious, is the sound detection bleeding over to the ground floor? No. So it's up here doing something. But it's in the bathroom pacing right now. Now my sanity is still in the 80s, so I am still not at risk for a hunt, even from a demon. Now the breaker has blown, but there is a chance that the ghost will turn it on himself, regardless of ghost type. Even mares will sometimes turn on the breaker by themselves. So let's place a few more of these. Go turn on the breaker, which is actually in the garage. Don't know why I went down here. Yes, yes. Now after a breaker is blown by too many lights being on, all of the lights will be shut off after you turn it back on. But if it's turned off when you turn it back on, the lights that were on should still be on. So in this case, the breaker wasn't blown because too many lights were on. The breaker went off because the ghost went and turned the breaker off. Alright, so this is the girls' kids' room. Where is my... Did I just see my breath here? This room and the attached bathroom will have the same name. This is the upstairs bathroom, or the upstairs bathroom, I believe it was, yes. Alright, check these halls. There we have a bone. I don't have my camera on me, so I'm not going to pick it up yet. While I'm in here, we have ghost writing. So this is definitely the room. The ghost room is the only one you will get confirmation of, like, spirit box and ghost writing with. So we have ghost writing. There was something I wanted to do in here and I can't remember what it was. Move the camera. Stop playing with the door. I'm trying to pick up a camera. Now sometimes not having a tripod is beneficial. Like if I could get a better view from there. So just because you have tripods doesn't mean you have to use them. But if I'm trying to look down like this hallway, there's no real good point to put it. So that's where tripods come in. Alright, still getting a sound ping. Girl teen bedroom. Both of those are listed as girls teen bedroom. So both of these bedrooms are the same in name. It's probably girl teen bedroom 1 and girl teen bedroom 2, but this is not showing the difference between the two. And right now this ghost is really active upstairs. Alright, sanity is still at 80 or so. We have ghost writing. And freezing temperatures, which limits us to demon or Udai. Udai is ghost orb, I believe. And demon is spirit box. So I think we have a demon. So in order to confirm that, I don't have to worry about UV. I don't have to worry about EMF. Neither of those will be available evidence. I'm going to bring this in. And I'm also going to bring the thermometer so I can explain how it works. Now, the thermometer gives you a temperature reading a short distance ahead of you at whatever you're looking at. So as I'm walking along here, if I'm looking at the floor, I'm getting the temperature nearest me, which as you can see is fairly cool. But if I look up, I'm actually getting the temperature ahead of me. So from here, I can read toward that, the kitchen, even though right here it's warm. Looking that way, I get the kitchen. Looking this way, I will get the bathroom. So yeah, and if it gives you a reading, I have mine on Fahrenheit. If it gives you a reading of about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which would be, you threw out the breaker again, which would be 10 degrees Celsius, that means that you have found a room the ghost has been in, and it's usually the right room. Where are you? That's all I needed. We have a demon. So I'm going to flip the breaker back on. This thing has been particularly active. If I get to 65 sanity against a demon, it can hunt me. So I don't need to worry about ghost orbs, don't need to worry about EMF 5 readings, so there's no reason to bring the EMF reader in. I can just keep mapping out the rooms of the house and explaining some of the other pieces of equipment. And I forgot my camera again. But let's move this down to this room. And move this one over to this room. And see what the last two rooms are called. That's probably a teen boy or boy teen's bedroom, and the other one's probably the master bedroom. Let's get my camera. Boy, teen bedroom, master bedroom. I was right. Alright, sanity, still in the 70s. I'm not worried about the demon yet. What else do I want to bring in? Let's bring in a glow stick. So as you can see, this thing provides very little light. You have to get really close to something to be able to see. If I go through an area with the lights off, it doesn't provide a lot of light. Now they're mainly really effective for marking areas. So like if I put one there, it'll mark that area fairly well. I can see it from a good distance away. In places like, say, the asylum. And let's actually put my camera back down for a second to get this other one and the salt. So first thing I'm going to do is throw this on the ground, because this is another effective use of... Did you flip the breaker again? No, it just hadn't reset the light. Okay. Another effective use of glow sticks. You throw a glow stick down near salt, and when you put the salt down, you can see the footprints. Three piles of salt is the most you can leave. It will only interact with one pile once, so that pile will not be interacted again. When these footprints fade, which you can see they're slowly fading, they're gone. That salt pile will not trigger again. But yes, if a ghost interacts with salt and you're not anywhere near it, you may miss the footprints entirely and assume it's a wraith. Let's get our camera back. And let's get... There's really no other piece of evidence we haven't played around with, so let's bring in candles. Now, one interesting thing about candles. You cannot light a candle from another candle by using the F key. If I sit here and press F, nothing happens. But you can throw them, and if the flame passes near, it will light the candle, which is interesting. And they've already said they're planning on making candles work like cameras, where you can choose to place them instead of just toss them. Because right now, if you try and set a candle down, it's going to be really hard to get it to be upright. Nope, that one just fell back behind there. Oh, but it did land upright at least. Now you can use a candle and press the F key to, oh, he interacted with his other salt, but his footprints have already faded. You can use a candle and the interact key to light a smudge stick, but you cannot light a smudge stick in your hand by having a lit candle in your other hand. The F key won't interact that way. Alright, what else did I want to bring in? Alright, so now I'm getting close to 60 sanity. I'm at about 70. The ghost could do an event and really drop my sanity. This is where sanity bills come in. Now I'm back up to 100. No danger of a hunt whatsoever. So it is possible to maintain your sanity and spend a long time in a mission and never get hunted. Let's put this one in the kitchen. Right there. Or, no, better idea. No, that is a good spot. That is a good spot. Alright, now let's go move. Take pictures of the bone. Let's see, bone was in this room. Yes. And move the sound sensors around. I also want to check these closets for a Ouija board. Still haven't found it. I might have to do a Ouija board explanation in another video, because I can't guarantee to find one. Alright, is this still considered the upstairs hall? And is this still considered the master bedroom? Did I just blow the breaker? I just blew the breaker. Alright, I am not worried about my sanity right now, not in any danger, so I can finish my exploration in the dark if necessary. I think I have checked every room and there is not a Ouija board in this house. Okay. Oh, I needed to take a photo of the book, because it would be an interaction photo. Sometimes you can get interaction photos if you get them at the right angle for doors or light switches that they interact with. Alright, so we have upstairs hallway, master bedroom. So we have now mapped every area. I believe I have discussed every piece of equipment. Yes. Alright, and we have identified the ghost as a demon because we have spirit box. So we have completed every objective, and I have mapped out the name of every room. So there we have it. No activity in the... Oh, there we go. The upstairs hallway got a little bit of sound, so he's wandering around quite a bit. Either that or the upstairs hallway is picking up that motion sensor every time it goes off. Interesting. I guess the sound from that carries over into the hallway where the sound sensor is. So I guess possibly the sound sensors in this house do bleed over a little bit from floor to floor. Alright. But there we have it. We shall call this an episode, and hopefully in the future I will find a Ouija board and be able to do an explanation of that. Now that that's grayed out, I know I had the ghost right, which I did from evidence collection anyway. And as you see, ghost was a demon. We got $80 off of that, 20 in photo. And this I still think is a glitch. I'm getting $10 in insurance every mission, regardless of what happens, regardless of difficulty level. I don't understand it. Maybe after you get so much money, you are guaranteed $10 every assignment. I don't know. Alright. But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.